Hi everyone, my name is Bhakti. Today we are going to learn class 9's chapter number 3, that is plant and animal tissue. So what is the syllabus over here? What are they going to tell us? First we are going to get to know about tissues, types of tissues in plants and animals. There is a brief understanding of their location, basic structure, function with examples, a brief understanding of their role in different psychological processes in plants as well. Physiological, not psychological, physiological processes in plants and animals. Okay, let's read now. A single cell working on its own would achieve very little inside an animal or plant. Unicellular organisms, so it is very difficult for them to process for the processing of other types of things, right? Like only one cell is there and they cannot perform all the mechanical, highly mechanized functions. So a single cell working on its own would achieve very little inside animal or plant. So many similar cells lying in a side by a side by lining side by side, working together as team to perform the same function. Let's say this is the one purple cell, like this is one cell, this is one cell, which is lying aside to each other. So they form a group of cell. We call it as tissue. Okay, what is tissue? Tissue is nothing but a group of cells. So such group of cells are called tissue. We will describe here only more common plant and animal tissue. So tissues, the teams of workers. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a specific function. Most plants and animals possesses a tissue system. The human body, for example, has an epithelial tissue covering the skin. Yeah, we know the skin is epithelial tissue. The muscular tissue is made up of muscle cells which by contraction bring about movements. Muscle cells, we have our biceps, triceps. So these all are muscle cells and they help in contraction and relaxation of the cells or tissues. In a plant, the conducting tissue conducts water upward from the soil to aerial parts and food prepared from leaves to the lower parts. Now, plant is somewhat like this. So there are several tissues that bring water from the roots and they supply that water to the other parts of the plant. So each type of tissue is having different work. Okay, relationship between tissue, organ system and organism. Now what is the relation between cell, tissue, then tissue make organ make organism, organ system make organism. So see, several tissue together contribute to some specific function inside the body, constituent an organ, such as tongue having epithelial cells, nerve cells, muscle cells, etc. And these all the cells, these all the tissues combine and then they perform a specific function. Many organs acting together to perform a specific life process constituent an organ system. So this tissue, when the similar cells are gathered over there, they form a group, and that if that group is gathered to another group that is attached with similar cells, then they form a organ. So many organs acting together to form a specific life process, many organs acting together, then they form a organ system, such as our digestive system, which includes stomach, esophagus, our buccal cavity, intestines, large intestine, small intestine, then this uterus, anus, everything is included in our digestive system. Organ system together constituent the organism, like the root system and the shoot system constituent the plant and organism. Okay. Now let us learn about plant tissue. So very basic thing is that plant tissue are basically of two types, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Means somewhat like this, plant tissue, okay, and it is of two types. First is meristematic tissue and the second one is permanent tissue. Meristematic and permanent. Now what do you mean by word meristematic? Meristematic means cells which can lead to growth. Cells which can lead to growth. It means if cells are responsible for growth, means of course they are living cells. If they are living, then definitely they will divide, right? So meristematic cell tissue means the growing or dividing tissue. Cell can multiply to produce new cells. Okay. And permanent tissue means the tissue which cannot divide, non-dividing cells. This is called what? This is called as permanent tissue, in which the cells of the tissue are non-dividing, in that the cells do not divide. Now let us learn about meristematic tissue. So see, meristematic tissue is also known as meristem. Okay, very important point. Meristematic tissue is also known as meristem. Found at all growing points of plants such as tip of roots, stems and branches. Let's say this is the plant, this is the root, and this is like shoot system. Here we have several branches. So at their tip over here, at their tip, okay, at their tip of root, shoot, everywhere this meristematic tissue is found. Means everywhere in all the growing points of the plant. As you can see in this figure, okay, 3.1 figure. Next, what we have, it is also present between bark and wood of trees, where it leads to growth in diameter of the stem. Now it is not like that it is only present at the tip system. No, it is present everywhere, even near the bark, near the wood of tree, and it lead to growth in the diameter of the stem. Means there are basically three types of meristematic tissues also. They are classified as, and then they have different functions. Okay, the next thing is chief characteristics of meristematic tissue. Now what are the characteristics of meristematic tissue? What is meristematic tissue exactly? So see here, cells are small. So meristematic tissues, the cells are very small, and then these small cells form a tissue. Cells are usually cuboidal. Cube, like this. They are like this kind of thing. Okay, they are cuboidal. The cell wall is very thin. Their cell wall, this cell wall is very thin cell wall. Okay, nuclei are large. The nucleus which is present inside them, it is quite large in size. Nucleus is larger in size. Vacuoles are almost absent. Vacuoles are like not there, but it is not like that vacuoles are not there. Vacuoles are there, but almost they are absent. Cells are tightly packed with almost no intermolecular space. So here you can see there is no intermolecular space between the cells. So cells are like very tightly packed. The cells actively divide, adding new cells to the plant. So cells actually divide very rapidly, and it lead to growth in both the in plants, because we are learning about plant tissue, right? New cells thus produced are transformed into mature permanent tissue. The new cells which are there, like of course the cell is there, it will divide and new cells will appear, right? So the new cells which are produced, they will transform into mature permanent cell. Means if these cells are getting old, then they will stop dividing, and then they will be converted into permanent tissue. And then the new cells which are there, they will be classified as meristematic tissue. So now here the classification of meristematic tissue is given. The meristematic tissue can be classified into two categories. Basically the three categories are there. Okay, but here two are given. The three categories are, which I know, is apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. But here they have given only two. And what is that? Apical meristem and cambium or lateral meristem. Okay. So here this is the image. What is this image? It is the longitudinal section of a stem tipped together with differentiating leaves in auxiliary buds. So see, as I drew the diagram, how it is quite cuboidal, means see how it is cuboidal, and it is having a very prominent nucleus. Their servor is also very thin, and they are having negligible intermolecular space. And chromosomes, they are seen when the cell divides, and this cells continuously divides, so we can continuously see the chromosomes. Now we have apical or terminal meristem. Terminate means something stopping, like stopped. Terminate means end. So apical or terminal tissue. So this is located near the tips of roots and stem, and also in growing young leaves near the tip of stem, as well as in the tip of axillary buds. So they are like present at the tip of shoot or root system, and then they lead to increase in height of the plant. Next is cambium or lateral meristem. So meristem, this is situated below the bark, and it is responsible for increase in diameter of the stem. Now let's say this is our bark of a tree, and it is responsible for increasing the girth. Girth means thickness of the tree. And this is the type of tissue which is present like this in a circular kind of thing, like this. Then above downside, this kind of thing you will see, then this kind of thing, and thus it increases the girth of the plant. Next है permanent tissue. See, permanent tissue are made up of cells which have lost their ability to divide. Now, like we learned about meristematic tissue, we learned about meristematic tissues type. Now we are completely done with that. Now we are having permanent tissue. Means the tissues which cannot divide, they have lost their ability to divide. They take a permanent shape to perform some permanent function. They may be living, nucleus present, or dead, nucleus absent. So see, this permanent tissue may be living, or they might be dead as well. And if they are living, it is not like they will divide. No, nucleus will be there, they are living, but they will not divide. And if dead are there, then like there is no reason in saying that they will grow and all. According to the function performed, the permanent tissue is of 3 types. Now see, permanent tissue is of 3 types: protective, supporting, and conducting. Protective, supporting, conducting. In protective tissue we have 2 types: epidermis, and one more is there. Then we have a supporting tissue which includes collenchyma, parenchyma, sclerenchyma. Conducting tissue, in conductive tissue we have xylem, phloem. Okay. Alright, so let's learn about protective tissue in detail. Protective tissue, the cells are having quite thick walls. These are found on the surface of root, stem, and leaves. Where it is found in the surface of root, stem, and leaves. Whenever the old tree is there, on that bark you will see some lenticels, and when some bark is like about to peel off, and very old bark, so that is nothing but protective epidermis tissue. Epidermis of leaves, which secretes a waxy waterproof material. Cork cell in the bark contain another strong waterproof material. So basically these are like epidermal tissue, it contains some waxy or fluid like structure. Okay. And that structures are, the waxy thing inside them is like sclerotin. One more fluid is there, I kind of forgot the name, but alright, it's not given in our chapter, I mean in our book. Let it be. Now this is extremely important for both the CBSE and ICSE students. Supportive tissue is of several types. As I told you, it is of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. See now, very important. What is parenchyma? Parenchyma is a large, thin-walled cells, oval, circular, or polygonal in shape. They are large, but their walls are very thin, like this. Okay, they are large, but they are kind of large, but their this cell wall is a very thick, and even they don't have intermolecular space. They are having very much large vacuoles. They are having large vacuoles. Now why do they have large vacuoles? Because the work or the function of these cells is to store foods, and of course we know vacuoles. What is the work of vacuoles? To store food only, right? So they have very thin cell wall. They have they are circular, polygonal, या फिर rectangular, whatever shape. Usually a single large vacuole, like usually they have a single large vacuole, as I have shown you in this figure very nicely in with red pen, found in soft parts of the plant such as cortex, outer region, and in the pith central region. Now, where these types of tissues are found, in herbal plants, their stem is very delicate, right? So, inside that stem, or the stems which we can eat, for example, there is one kind of unwanted weed, okay, that is one kind of weed, and that can be eaten by people literally eat it. So this their stems are very delicate, and you can easily eat them. That's why these large vacuoles are there with store food and give test also. Okay, may store food as in potatoes. Potatoes are also one example of parenchyma, because potato is like quite delicate. They have very large amount of this cells, and they store food. They provide temporary support to the plant. Now these tissue provide temporary support. Now just as I drew the diagram, it is very much similar to this. Look how the things are there. This is the nucleus. This is the fluid present inside it. Some little bit no, this is not fluid, this is vacuole. This is vacuole actually. And the walls, you can see, they are very thin. Here are the granules of starch. Okay, this is of potato. This one, image number B, it is of potato. Alright, now let us move to the next thing. See, some parenchymatous cell, parenchymatous, not chymatous, parenchymatous cells, particularly in the leaf, contain chloroplast, and they are termed as sclerenchyma. See, the parenchyma, as I told you, they are having vacuoles, so they also have chloroplasts within them, and they have chlorophyll. Chloroplast is nothing but the green pigment. So they form chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is there inside it. Therefore, it is called as chlorenchyma. And as chlorophyll is there, so we know it will definitely do photosynthesis, and it will secrete food. So see, chlorenchyma helps the leaf to produce food by photosynthesis. Alright, now what we have collenchyma. Collenchyma is like very delicate type of tissue which gives flexibility and mechanical support to the plant. It is made up of cells which are elongated, and the cell wall is thickened at the corners, means what like this. Just a minute. See, the eraser is very thin, therefore I am having too much trouble to show you. Yeah, now I will show you that how exactly the collenchyma looks. Very beautiful. See, they are like this. polygonal in shape. They are polygonal only, okay? They are not circular or any other kind of tissues. And here they are thickened at some places. Why? Because they store the food. They are quite thickened at some places like this, okay, so that they can provide flexibility. Colon means glue. Colon means glue stick that we use, right? Made up of cells which are elongated, and cell wall is thickened at corners, as I told you, at corners. It is found in the leaf stalks and below the epidermis of stem. Where it is found? It is found near the stalk of the leaf. Stalk of the leaf. The tissue helps to support the parts of plant. So this is colon-chyma. You can see in this image 3.3, a longitudinal view B cross section. Means this is the longitudinal, and this B image is the section, which crossed section. Now the last one we have with us is sclerenchyma. See, scleros means hard, colon means glue, scleros means hard. Composed of long narrow cells which have become dead. These cells develop very thick walls due to deposition of lignin. See, these cells are having very thick wall due to deposition of lignin. This tissue provides the strength to plant. Therefore, it is found in stems, veins of the leaves. You know, the outer shell of a coconut is made up of sclerenchyma tissue. The above three categories, namely parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, are grouped as simple tissues, each being made up of one type of cell. These are made up of only one type of cell, therefore they are simple permanent tissue. Okay, so you can see here fibers and stones. Ropes, mats, certain textiles are made from plant fibers such as those of lignin and hemp. Hemp means, you know, it is kind of very beautiful. You just search in Google first. When fibers are the sclerenchyma cells, the hard walnut shells and the gritty masses in the skin and the pulp of pear are made up of sclerenchyma cells, here known as stone cells. Okay, now then we have conducting tissue, very important. So they are also the vascular tissues which provide passage for water and dissolved materials to move up and down in the plant. Now what do you mean by vascular tissue? First of all, what do you mean by conducting tissue? Conducting tissue means, you know, I will, like teachers often say, I will conduct your surprise test, means she will take. So these are the tissue which take up the water from the roots to the other parts of the plant, and also they serve the food prepared by the leaves to other parts of the plant like root, stem, everything. So these are conducting tissue. They are called vascular tissue. Vascular because they provide a passage for water and other dissolved minerals and whatever the things are there to move up and down in the plant. Okay? And the xylem and the phloem are two types of conducting tissue. Now there are only two types of tissue, that is xylem and phloem, and these are like they don't have nucleus. It is not like they don't have nucleus, they have, but like some are dead tissue inside them, some are living, and mixture of so many different types of tissues. Alright, so xylem are elongated and thick walled. These cells, now what xylem, these are the cells which are elongated like this, which are long and they are like thick walled. They are long and they are like this, you know, which are long also and they are thick also but long also. These cells are somewhat in the form of tubular passages. So here you can see, tubular passages, holes are there, right? If the water is, means they will suck the water and from here they will give out the water. So these are like having passages. They provide for upward movement of water and dissolved material absorbed from the soil by roots. So they provide the upward movement for the water by capillary reaction and whatever the dissolved material is there inside the soil, they take that the dissolved material through them and provide it to the other plants. Older xylo wood tissue forms the wood and does not participate in transport. Now, of course, after certain limit, the tissue will lose its capacity to do its work. Means it will get old like human being only. So these xylem tissues which are old, they will become one part of bark, and they will not means they will become wood, and then they will not function properly. Tissue forms the wood and does not participate in transport. You can determine the age of tree by counting its annual rings, which which actually are the xylem rings. Now, how can we know how many like how much year old that tree is? Let's say this is the tree bark, and then there are so many layers: one layer, two layers, second layer, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and so many layers. Several layers are there. So each layer, each year one layer deposits. Not one, but there might be a particular number. So this is how the age of tree is counted. The age of trees count the age of a tree by counting its annual rings. Yeah. Xylem tissue consists of tracheids and vessels, also called tracheary elements, and xylem parenchyma respectively. Now this xylem is basically made up of four main types of things, that are xylem fiber and xylem fiber, tracheids, vessels, and xylem parenchyma. ठीक है, this is one of like important statement which you need to understand. So here, see here, what kind of structure is this? Totally unimaginable structure, and basically this is the magnified portion of a stem representing a herb and showing its transverse and longitudinal views. Okay, so see, this kind of diagram might come in exam, because teachers can give anything they want. You may also search for a very simple diagram in YouTube. See here, this is phloem, this is cork, dead one, the outer one is cork, this is ray, this is cambium, sorry. Diagrammatic sketch of cross section of 3-year-old woody stem. Note the 3 concentric rings of xylem indicating the age. Okay, so where is that? These are the 3 layers, right? 1, 2, 3. This indicates the age, means only one layer deposits each year. Something like this. Alright, tracheids. So tracheids are made up of elongated dead cells. They are made up of elongated dead cells with a large cavity without any content. They are having very large cavity. Okay, cavity means hollow space. The cells are placed end to end, forming a long tube. They have highly lignified cell walls. Just now I told you that lignin is one substance which is secreted in a large amount. So that cell walls are having lignin. They provide mechanical support by developing various types of thickenings in their walls. So what is the use of tracheids? They are nothing but they are having large cavities, and they help to they give support to the plant by thickening the bark. Like here you can see this brown color, it is very thickened. Why? Due to this lignin, segregation of lignin. Okay, so variety of shapes of tracheids. So see, they are also found in various shapes. Xylem vessels or trachea. Alright, xylem vessels. Xylem vessels or trachea, they are the long tube-like structures meant for transporting water and dissolved minerals. They are made up of elongated cells placed end to end. Their cell walls are quite hard, thick and lignified. So their cell walls are hard, thick, lignified. Whatever the thing comes about xylem, just write 2 important things, that their cell walls are thick and they are highly lignified. lignified. Transverse walls get dissolved and make a continuous water pipe. Xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma, storage of food. Very good. So you know the parenchyma, it is used for storing food. Collenchyma give mechanical support, and sclerenchyma is like thick, very thick. It provides inside. It protects this whatever the things present inside the fruit or cells, tissues, whatever. Xylem parenchyma consist of living parenchyma cells associated with xylem. These cells serve for the storage of food such as sugar and starch, and also help in conduction of water and minerals. So parenchyma, as I told you, it helps in the story. It helps to store the food as well as sugar and starch. They also help in conduction of water and minerals. Next thing we have is phloem. Very important. Phloem, flows means bark, provide a passage for downward movement of food manufactured in leaves to various parts of the plant. So phloem is also some kind of structure like this, and which transports the food from the leaves to the roots of the plant, like this downward movement. Okay, downward movement to various parts of the plant. They also provide the upward movement of prepared food towards the growing new leaves. The phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. One more important thing, xylem is only having one direction, that is upwards, but phloem can move both upwards and downwards, And as we know, we classified xylem in 4 different types. Same here with phloem. It can be also classified into 4 types as companion cells, sieve tubes, phloem, fiber, and parenchyma. So phloem cells a longitudinal section, B cross section. Sieve tubes. They are made up of elongated cells placed end to end, forming a long tube. What are these sieve tubes? So they are elongated cells which are placed end to end, forming a long tube. The transverse walls are perforated and called sieve plates. I will read one more time once. Made up of elongated cells placed end to end, forming a long tube. The transverse walls of the perforated and are called sieve tubes. They help in the transfer of food from leaves to storage organs in other parts of the plant. There's a nothing. They are like these types of structure, like we having sieving tube. They are having net-like structure, and from these net-like structure they pass the food or they transport the food. Okay. Companion cells. Living parenchyma cell closely associated with sieve tubes. They help in functioning of sieve tube cell. So companion cells are kind of cells which are attached to the main phloem, like this kind of thing. So here these things are companion cells. Okay, these are companion cells. What are they? Living parenchyma cells closely associated with sieve tube. They help in functioning of sieve tube cell. Phloem parenchyma. Parenchymatous tissue found associated with phloem, mainly concerned with storage of starch, fat, and other organic food material. Okay. Phloem fibers, they are sclerenchymatous tissue found associated with phloem. They are mainly providing support to the plant. The xylem and phloem collectively form the vascular bundles. The wands of leaves are example of vascular bundles. They are in continuity with conducting tissue of stem and root. Okay. Now here comes the important point. The above two tissues, xylem and phloem, are also termed as complex tissue. Yeah, they are also termed as complex tissue, or they are also termed as conducting tissue, being made of more than one types of cells working together as a unit. As we know, they are made up of 4 different types of cells each. Alright. Progress check. Now here are some questions. Let's try to answer them. What are the 2 basic types of plant tissue? The 2 basic types of plant tissue are meristematic tissue and this permanent tissue. Give technical terms for the following: the category of plant tissue that have lost their ability to multiply, that is permanent tissue. Kind of plant cell with thin cell walls, usually single large vacuole, parenchyma. Elongated cells which are thickened at the corners, collenchyma. The two types of tissue which provide the upward movement of water and dissolved material from the roots and other parts of the plant. So xylem, okay, and phloem. Mention if the following are true or false. Phloem cells carry manufactured food. Phloem cells carry manufactured food from leaves to other parts. See, leaves to other parts. True. Veins of leaves have both xylem and phloem. True. The older xylem tissue does not participate in transport. True. Sclerenchyma consists of actively dividing cells. False. It is the dead cell, right? I mean, it is composed of dead cells. Now here is our mind map, I mean the summary of plant tissue, how it is divided, and this question is frequently asked in exam because I have seen question paper of my colleagues. Okay, so see very carefully. Plant tissue, it is classified in two types, that is, just let me, yeah, plant tissue, meristematic and permanent tissue. Meristematic means actively dividing cells, and permanent means non-dividing cells, found at all growing points, while these are particularly shaped and permanent function which are found everywhere, like the dead things of the cell. Further, the permanent tissue is classified into three types, that is protective, supportive, and conductive. Protective is also known as simple or epidermis, supportive and conducting. So see, at surface of roots and stem we get this epidermis and all. Supportive tissue is parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Conducting, we know they are vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, consisting more than one type of cells. Okay. Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, short-filling plant tissue. Collenchyma, elongated, thickened cells, and sclerenchyma, thickened lignified cell walls which are dead. Okay. This parenchyma, collenchyma are alive, but sclerenchyma is dead. Xylem, water conducting. Phloem, food conducting. This is then classified into what? Four types. Both are classified into four types: tracheas, vessels, xylem, parenchyma, and xylem fiber. Tracheas are long, spindle shaped, spindle shaped like this. Or muscle cells are spindle shaped. Vessels are cylindrical like this, and open at the end walls. Xylem, parenchyma. Phloem, food conducting, sieve tube joined end to end through clusters of pores, companion cells. Phloem, parenchyma. So here we are completely done with the plant tissue. In further video I'll be coming with animal tissue as well. Hope you loved this particular video, and yeah, here I'll be coming with all the physics, chemistry, and everything of ICSE as well. And yeah, stay tuned for that and wait for part 2, and definitely I'm gonna post it. Okay, bye.